Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial, I would be sharing how I made this short with drawstring at the side, and this drawstring would allow you create this gathered effect along the sides. If this is something you learn how to do, then you should see this video up until the very end. My name is Ayomide, and on this channel I post DIY sewing tutorials and pattern drafting tutorials. Now let us jump into this tutorial. To begin this tutorial, I would be using this flowered fabric. I found it amongst my stash of fabric. So what I will do first of all is to fold this fabric into two. I am going to be cutting the short directly on the fabric. After folding it into two, I would be ruling a line at the top part of this fabric, and this is where all of my measurements would be taken from. So I just need you to follow along. Next, I would be marking 1 inch away from the folded edge. After that, I would be marking my vertical measurements. In marking my measurements, I would factor in 1 inch, which I would be using in as my waistband allowance. So I'll be placing 1 inch at that line that I drew where I said all of my measurements will be taken from, and then I'll be marking 10 inches downward, which would serve as my crotch line. I'll mark 12 inches, which will serve as a tie line, and then I'll mark 17 inches, which is 16 inches for the length of the shorts, and 1 inch extra for hemming allowance. Once I was done ruling all of my lines, I will now place my horizontal measurements. On the crotch line, I will be placing 1/4 of the hip measurement, which was 9 inches. On the waistline, I will be deducting 1 inch from 9 inch, so I'll be marking 8 inches on the waistline. I'll roll it downward. Next, I will be marking my crotch extension, and I'll be using 2 inches for my crotch extension. I'll be creating the crotch curve in this manner. Thereafter, I'll be marking the midpoint of the entire measurement I have on the crotch line. I'll mark that midpoint on the crotch line. I'll mark the midpoint also on the thigh line. I'd also mark the midpoint on my knee line, which is going to be the full length of this short. Then I will be placing my tie round measurements. So my tie round measurement is 20 inches. I will divide it into 4. I have 5 inches. I'll be placing 5 inches on either side of the midpoint, on both sides of the midpoint. This would mean that I have a total of 10 inches placed on the tie round measurement. All right. Then for the knee line also, I will be marking the same measurements because of the nature of the short I'm working with. I'm just going over to place 5 inches on both sides of the midpoint. I'll be connecting all of the points together. After that, I would be moving over to the waistline. From that crotch line measurement, I would be placing 1/4 of my waist measurement. There would not be any dart allowance because of the nature of the short I'm working on. I'll be connecting it to my crotch line. Next, I'll be adding seam allowances. I'm adding 1/2 inch along the crotch area. I would also add 1/2 inch along the inseam area. I would be adding 1 inch to the side seam. I would also add 1/2 inch to the waistline. And once I was through adding all of my seam allowances, I went ahead to cut out my shorts. Now this is the front that I just worked on. I'll be using the front to cut out the back. This is what the front is looking like after I cut it out. I'll be using the front to cut out the back now. To do this, I would need to fold my fabric into two once again. Next, I'll be placing the front on the folded fabric. I just need to add some allowances and I will be ready to cut out the back. The first alteration I would be doing for the back is to mark half an inch beneath the crotch line. Then I would be marking 1 inch as the ease around the crotch area. I would blend it into my other measurements. Next, I'll be marking an extra ½ inch for the back crotch. I would also rule down my new back crotch line. After that, I'll be working on the waistline for the back. Whenever you're working on a trouser, the back waistline is always higher than the front. I'll be making it 1 inch higher than that of the front. I will then draw my new back waistline to meet at the sides. Since I already added seam allowances to the front, there won't be any need to add extra side seam allowance. All I have to do at this point is to cut this out. After I was done cutting, I went ahead to notch my crotch area, the thigh line and the knee line so that it can be easy for me to sew. It is now time to begin sewing and I would be starting with the back. Here I have placed right sides of the back against each other. Since there's going to be a zipper at the back, here I am marking out the zipper allowance of about 8.5 inches. Then I'll proceed to my sewing machine to sew down the crotch area down by ½ an inch. For the front, all I have to do is to sew down the entire crotch area of the front. After sewing, guys, this is what it looks like. This is what the back is looking like. And this is what the front is looking like. The next thing I'll do is to join both the front and the back together by the sides. Here I am placing both the front and the back together, right sides facing each other. I'll go ahead and sew it down along the sides. But before I sew it down along the sides, I'll make sure I fold up the hem. This is because of the casing that would pass through. So I would fold up the hem, sew it down before sewing down the sides. I am done sewing and this is what my short is looking like. I went ahead to fold down the hem and also sew the sides. Also, I have closed up the inseam too, so my short is taking shape already. What I'll do next is to create the casing for the drawstring. So I would turn my short to the wrong side, open up the side seam and stitch it down on either side. So this would create the space where my drawstring would pass through. I am done with that process I just explained. It is now time to pass the ropes through the casing I created. I have the strips of fabric here. The length is about 28 inches long and I have 4 pieces, 2 for either side of the short. I will be pinning my safety pin on one end of one of the ropes. After securing the safety pin, I would pass it through one of the casing. After passing the rope through the casing, I would secure with a pin so that it doesn't come off. Then I'll pass the other ropes through the other casings in this manner. This is what my short is looking like after passing the ropes through the casing. You can see the gathered effect it is already creating. What is left to be done is to fix the elastic band. And for this, I have the strip of fabric that I have cut out already. It is about 2 inches on fold. So I'll just fold it down and stitch it all along the waistline of the shirt. I would also be fixing the zipper after I'm done fixing the waistband, and I'll be showing you guys the outcome. So guys, this is the final outcome of the shorts. This is what it looks like. I love the way the gathered effect came out along the sides. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a huge thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, kindly click on the subscribe button, and I would see you in my next video. Goodbye.